Well, good evening, America. Welcome to It's Happening Out. This is the world's most popular live gay television show. You know it's Wednesday night, it's 8 p.m., so that means it's happening out. This is Wednesday, September 16th, 2020. This is an important date for us here at It's Happening Out, which we're going to tell you a lot about through the show tonight. I'm your host and your moderator, Al Ferguson. And so welcome, America. We are going to have so much fun, very entertaining show, and we're going to talk about a lot of interesting things. Before we begin, let me make sure that I introduce everybody that's participating tonight. And the gentleman in the black shades, you can't even tell who he is, but this is the infamous DJ Diva Power Infiniti. Good evening, Power.
Hey, child.
Anything you'd like to tell us, or
Let's just get this show on the road.
Right on the road. All right, great. And sitting here, snapping very loudly, is Chef Josie, top chef, running for mayor of the gayest place on planet Earth. I read today on social media now she is bought out partners and now is, along with her wife, the owner of one of the best restaurants here in Fort Lauderdale, right on the heart of Wilton Drive, Bubbles and Pearls. Good evening, Chef Josie.
And I am planning a pool party and bubbles popping all week long next week. Oh my God, we're getting it going and the campaign trail is blazing. So let's do this.
Yes, my goodness, that was like an energy switch turn on there. And we have a special guest tonight on It's Happening Out. Did y'all know that Friday is National HIV and an Ageist National Recognition Day, and as a result, we've asked our medical expert for 27 consecutive weeks, Dr. Howard Grossman, and he is the former executive director of the American Academy of HIV Medicine. Dr. Grossman, it's not Tuesday night, so I'm very confused in seeing you, but welcome to It's Happening Out. I did. I'm going to do that all night. I'm going to be, all the lights are going to be on me. Yeah, exactly. Well, we can't wait, and thank you for joining us. And of course, in our anniversary, we have to have a different perspective and point of view. And this is his second appearance at It's Happening Out. It's been a while. I wasn't on the show that's Scott, who I'm getting ready to introduce you to. So this show, Scott, is probably going to be much, much better than whoever that damn moderator was. Oh, wait, that was Josie. But this show's going to be so much better. And America, I want to introduce you to a conservative activist, very well known in the United States. This is Scott Pressler from Washington, D.C. You're one of those gays, I understand. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you. Well, it's a great opportunity to get out of the swamp and come down to the alligators down here.
Out of one swamp and into another. All right, so we thank you again, America, for joining us, and it's time to get started with It's Happening Out. Good evening again. As I told you at the top of the show, you're watching the world's most popular live gay TV show. Tonight, we are going to talk about so many of your LGBT stories. Next on It's Happening Out.
This week on It's Happening Out.
We want to talk about this population first. How large is this population?
There are about 1.1 million people in the U.S.
Our new game, Saved by the Bell. It's all happening out tonight. Join us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. With your host, reality TV star, Chef Josie. Trans activist, Aaron Phoenix. DJ Diva Power Infiniti. And our moderator, Al Ferguson. It all starts right now, live on It's Happening Out.
Well, America, welcome back. Power just passed out for a few seconds when he saw Scott's shirt that said God, guns, and Trump. You know we're off to the races when we show that in the opening package.
I
All right.
see it.
Thanks for coming right in on that joke.
God, I forgot to bring my popcorn tonight.
Right. All right.
Not gonna be
America,
easy,
we are
but
live. This is unedited. We stop for nothing, so anything can happen. It's going to make it a lot more fun, and this is the world's most popular live gay TV show. Last week, about 135,000 of you watched us in YouTube alone. And by the way, if you are on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to It's Happening Out and click the bell for updates. And if you're on Facebook, like and share the video. In fact, start a watch party. It's super easy. Here's how you do it. Watch.
When viewing our live show in your app, please click share. After clicking share, your screen should change and you can then click watch party. On the next screen, you can write text to your viewing audience and then click start watch party. You've done it. Enjoy your party.
All right, well, it's as simple as that. Let's jump right in. We always start our show. We've been doing this for 2 years, by the way.
Wow.
We're getting ready to talk about that.
Amazing.
We start with the meme of the week. And let's have some fun as we begin with the meme. And I haven't seen this. It is called, oh, Scott, you're going to love this. Trump in February. I'm sure it's glowing reviews. Watch this.
The flu in our country kills from 25,000 people to 69,000 people a year. That was shocking to me. And so far, if you look at what we have with the 15 people, and they're recovering, one is pretty sick.
Guess what, bitch? Coronavirus! Coronavirus! Shit is real! Shit is getting real! Woo!
Yep. So what do you guys think of two very different Trumps that we've seen from just February? Anybody like to start? Any thoughts?
His ass looks good.
Bueller?
Bueller. I think that meme was pretty self-explanatory, if you ask me, you know. Let's not get too political here, Al, yet, okay?
It's too early?
It's too early, all right? Let's
yeah. Too soon?
Are we drinking yet?
Oh,
Come on,
okay.
let's
All right, that's true. Speaking of that, let's move on to our game. I have said consistently for 2 years, the only way I could get through 2 years of this show with the original host along with me that you're seeing tonight, Power Infiniti, the only way I could do that is to take shots. And so let's do that now.
Yeah.
Let's play our yes or no game called I'd Swallow That. Power, you got your shots ready?
Yes, and I would like to say that I think that a round of applause is due me because as a recovering drug addict, I have managed to get through 2 years of this show without doing a bump.
And by the way, before we, excellent, and Scott, I got to let you know, Power's frequently in Facebook jail, mostly talking about his Christian church ladies group, and Facebook pushes him in jail frequently for that. But we have a bet going on, and I have a bet that I'm going to be able to so infuriate him, or he is going to get so infuriated about Donald Trump between now and the election that he's going to go into jail again. And if he does, he's going to take me out on the greatest dinner ever in South Florida.
Not happening. I'm walking with Jesus.
You're walking with Jesus now? Scott, and in just now hearing about that bet, who do you think's going to win? Al, who's betting against Power's ability to stay out of Facebook, or Power's ability to stay out? Who do you think's going to win?
Well, only because he's fighting with church ladies already. I'm going to have to go on Al's team on this one. I'm so sorry.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, with that, let's play I'd Swallow That out. Power, you get no rebuttal, none. I'd Swallow That.
Sorry.
Our hosts will be asked 4 questions. If they agree, they take the shot. If they disagree, they don't take the shot. It's that simple. And we invite you to play right along with us at home. Everybody ready? Scott, you're all set with your shots, I see. All right, then let's play I'd Swallow That. Question number 1. I'd swallow that. Well, it's about us. I can't believe It's Happening Out is 2 years old this weekend. I'm taking that shot.
Cheers.
Well, what do y'all think? 2 years? Bueller?
As an OG, as I think myself and Al are the original gangsters on this show. We've been here from day one, and I actually, when we started this, we really came into it with high hopes, but we really didn't know what to expect. And for me, 2 years really seems like it's been 2 minutes. It really doesn't seem like it's been that long, but time flies when you're having fun. So cheers to us.
Cheers.
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 Yeah, that's great. I'm just glad to join the crew. So, I've been with you guys for a year now, and I can't even believe it. So I can't even imagine what you and Al Power are experiencing, this year. And look at this. You authored a pandemic.
Little trivia about Chef Josie. She was the first lesbian, and let's take lesbian off the table. She was the first female ever to be on It's Happening Out. We were all male-dominated.
Breaking the mold, guys. Breaking the mold.
And when Josie came on, she gave us the upgrade, honey.
That's right. And little did we know that having Josie come on the show and then ultimately being asked to be a host at It's Happening Out, she'd bring more testosterone than any other cast member.
What are you gonna do?
And Scott, you are unique. This is your second appearance at It's Happening Out. I don't know if you know this, but we've had president of the Log Cabin Republicans. We've had somebody that is president of Gays for Trump. Our president of Log Cabin Republican, Power, and I intimately know because on our last show of 2019, he got mad at us and stormed off the set live in the show and then threw his mic pack at me. But his aim, of course, Republican and all, threw it and hit Power.
And me.
Well, down here in the South, I know that we say, bless his heart.
Yeah, bless his heart. Exactly right. All right, let's move on to question number 2. I'd swallow that. There have been conversations on this. Are our other shows at It's Happening Out, or at Happening Out Television, which is Gay Town Hall, Q News Tonight, Happening.fun, that I think Dr. Grossman, Howard, we've got to start with you because you're a featured segment for 27 consecutive weeks. We do a segment on Q News Tonight on Tuesday nights live on Q's Q&A on coronavirus. And
it's been a real
Howard,
pleasure,
Yeah.
It really actually makes me keep up on the news and keep up on what's happening so that I can share things with all of you.
My favorite moment of Howard's segment is his evaluation of the White House. He came on right from the beginning and from the medical community doing evaluations of the White House Coronavirus Commission and how they are doing and the CDC and Health and Human Services. His grades weren't so good. We finally stopped when he got to G.
Yeah, right. Well, Z. I think we stopped at Z.
Yeah. Okay.
But, I don't know if you heard today that Scientific American, for the first time in its history, and its older magazine than before Lincoln was inaugurated, actually came out and endorsed a presidential candidate.
Oh.
So
okay.
I'm not alone in the scientific community,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Okay. Any particular topics that we've done in the last 2 years that y'all think are really important?
I didn't take the shot because I was just playing around, but obviously, we've done many topics that have been very important. I think one of the most important topics that we have hit on and that we continue to hit on is whenever we speak about mental wellness, when we speak about suicide prevention. That's something that's very personal to me. As everyone knows, I lost my brother last year to suicide. We have a host on our show that's been very, very open, Aaron Phoenix, about his challenges. So I think that whenever we talk about that, that's something that no matter where you fall on the political aisle, that's something that we can all come together on, is the fact that we really need to take care of our friends and our communities when it comes to people's mental wellness and make sure that we're taking care of each other.
Yeah, and Scott, when you were here, I believe last fall, wasn't it? Last fall? And you talked about your environmental work. You have an amazing not-for-profit program. Tell us a little bit about that, because you discussed that extensively at It's Happening Out.
Thank you. Well, actually, I'm a private citizen. I don't even have a organization. I'm doing this all as one person. And this is another issue that we can all agree on. Nobody wants to live in an area that has trash. Nobody wants to live in an area like that. So we can all agree that the community should come together as a team and a family, and let's do the work that the government isn't doing and do it ourselves and do it with love and kindness and empathy. And we've shown this from coast to coast, from Baltimore to Los Angeles. You know, while I was here in Miami, we did a cleanup, and it was just awesome to see the community come together.
Awesome. And
issue of sexism and misogyny to the table, and I get to really hash that out in detail with my brothers here at the table. It always makes it a little more valuable that I'm bringing you guys into that conversation, and that we've been able to create the space, because it's something that has needed to be shared and really explored, because it's just not a lesbian issue, it's a female issue. And we all have mothers, right? Some of us have sisters, we have girlfriends, we have friends, co-workers that are women, and it's good to understand each other and what how we're experiencing life. So I really think that anytime that misogyny conversation comes to the table, it's a really important one to have.
Absolutely. Along with that, two big highlights for me that I want to add to exploration in the last 2 years is one of our hosts at It's Happening Out died. He was one of the first in South Florida to die of COVID-19, Ron Brunensky. We've talked a lot about it because likely a transmission happened at this table. And It's Happening Out, and what unwinded or unpeeled from there. And also, two of our hosts we explored had in the Me Too movement had been sexually molested, and that came out in conversation in our show. So multiple things that have been important. Yeah. Let's move on to our third question. I'd swallow that. I'm sorry.
Quickly, one of the conversations I would like to point out on the flip side that is not important, that I don't feel is important on It's Happening Out, is that damn RuPaul conversation that we keep having.
Let them know.
Excuse me, sir. That is the #1 topic in the LGBT world.
I'm telling you, I was getting a kickback all the time, guys.
You're tilting against the windmill. Tilting against the windmill.
Hey, Ru.
You're a little you're a little Dutch boy with your finger in the dike, and I know you like that. I'd swallow that. Let's move on to question number 3. I'm glad yet worried that bars in Florida are open again. What do y'all think about the opening? We have a split decision here. Power, let's start with you because you took the shot.
I didn't take a shot.
I took the
You
shot.
didn't?
I didn't. I'm not glad that the bars are open because I'm glad for the bar owners, let's face it, but I'm still waiting for somebody to invent that mask that has a straw attached.
Oh, did you not see mine?
What have you got?
It's a hole for your...
It's a hole.
Oh, gosh.
I want to see, you know how they have those beer hats with the where the beer is up on top.
Oh,
I think
by the
that's
way,
what we need for cocktails.
By the way,
a
if-
one-way
That's
valve
totally you,
that only
Doc.
lets you suck it in.
if Dr. Grossman didn't just prove how damn gay he is, he just proved how damn gay
Well,
he is.
listen, you give me this microphone every week, so I think you're
Right.
telling me something.
Power, you took the shot. You're happy.
Well, okay. Well, as somebody that is a nightlife personality, I'm glad for the bars. It is my industry. I'm glad that the bars are open again. At the same time, yes, I am worried because my worry is that the bar owners are going to do what they did the last time, which is they are going to say, well, we have to do these, we have these requirements or these mandates that we need to do to stay open, but we're not going to do anything more than the base minimum of what we need to do to ensure that our club stays open and everything else be damned. What I mean by that, for example, is, bars had to limit their capacity to a certain amount. Bartenders and bar staff had to be masked, but they did. First of all, most bars did not follow the mandate as far as capacity. They were over capacity, a lot of them. And then they did not mandate people inside the bar wearing masks. All they really needed to do was have their bartenders and their bar staff wear those masks. They didn't need to really follow up on the customers. And therefore you had packed dance floors full of people breathing all up on each other, and really propelling the spread of this virus. And then when shit got shut down again, then everybody wants to cry. So I made a post this week and I asked, hey, are bars going to actually be a little bit more responsible in their safety precautions, so that you can actually stay open for the community longer than a few weeks?
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I believe that if we can open certain businesses, which we have allowed to open, and you can see it in grocery stores where even in a grocery store, there is very limited social distancing happening. And I'm not advocating for the lack of or the absence of social distancing. But the reality is that if we're going to open the businesses, we need to open the businesses, and we need to be able to set code and compliance and be able to enforce that code and compliance so that everyone can do it safely. If we're going to do it, then let's do it, and we can't pick and choose who we're gonna keep open or closed. So I mean, that's what it is. And I think a lot of folks are losing their shirts off their back right now, watching other businesses open while other businesses are unable to.
In a similar vein, let's take this conversation one step farther. Question number 4. I'd swallow that. I've had sex with someone I don't live with during pandemic.
No, man. No.
Jeez. Yay.
What's the definition?
Wait, that makes me want to start with Scott. Scott, tell us about what's going on for pandemic with you, sexually.
Well, I want to go back for just a second. I'm on Team Josie. I agree with you. Why are we rewarding corporate America and big business like Walmart and Amazon, but small businesses are losing out and they're not getting to open their stores? So I just had to put that out there because I am Team Small Business. I canceled 2 months of all of my events. I had this entire year planned, and then the pandemic hit. And of course, out of respect to safety and the security and the well-being of all of our American citizens, I canceled and I quarantined with Mama and Papa Bear in Virginia. And then as soon as Georgia reopened, I went back to work starting in early May. So I'm back to doing things, but I think it's about not touching your face, not touching your eyes, being respectable, social distancing, keeping your 6 feet, washing your hands. I think there's a way that we can reopen America, but also be smart about how we're doing it.
And I just want to do a quick review. Our question number 4, I'd swallow that, is I've had sex with somebody I don't live with during pandemic.
We're trying to avoid that question.
We're going to start again with Scott. You took the shot or didn't take the shot?
I did not take the
You
shot.
did not. Okay. All right. So we'll leave it there. Anyone else want to weigh in here?
So I think you know how I feel. I mean, my heart really bleeds for the people and the small businesses, Scott says, that have suffered. But I do think that, and we've been saying this on Q News for 20 some odd weeks, that we need to realize this is not a temporary situation, that we need to come up with new and creative solutions. I mean, that's what I'm just talking about the mask. I think Scott's right that we need to practice social distancing as much as we can. But as we talked about, if you're wearing a mask, you don't necessarily need to be a full 6 feet away from somebody if everybody's wearing a mask. There are ways to do this. I'm not sure there are ways to have a bar that's packed like we're used to in the old days, or a disco in the way that we did, or a movie theater where you're spending 3 hours packed in with people in a closed space. I'm not sure how we do that. I think we reinvent drive-in movies. We, do all kinds of things, but, certain businesses are going to suffer. They should be supported. I mean,
And Dr. Howard, I would be remiss if I didn't draw back attention that I happened to notice that you took your shot on the question of if I've had sex with someone during...
And I knew the person really well. I knew what precautions they were taking. I knew that they actually knew that they were uninfected.
Yeah.
And so, I felt safe to do it. But,
Okay.
and I think many people are doing very similar things. We're clearly seeing an increase in STDs, so people are out there having sex again. They're coming out of their shells. But I think most people I talk to they're not doing anonymous hookups the same way. They're doing things with people that they know better.
All right, let's move out of I'd swallow that, and now we're going to catch up on. We always end on STDs. Always, it's been a standard policy for 2 years.
Oh,
if
boy.
STDs are mentioned, our segment is now complete. Now we're going to catch up with news from Hollywood and the world of entertainment with our celebrity hot topic for this week. As you know, we will be celebrating the 2-year anniversary of It's Happening Out over the next 2 weeks. We often use this segment to talk about big screen stars, but since the 2-year anniversary of It's Happening Out is Sunday, September 20th, we want to talk about some of the stars and other guests we've had right here on It's Happening Out. Check out a couple of our favorites. Production prepared this. Watch this.
Hi, this is Violet Jean Merriman.
Hey, this is Del Shores.
What's up? This is Caswell, and you are watching It's Happening Out, America's favorite live gay talk show.
If you like what you've seen, subscribe and click below.
It's happening out. You can say that a lot of ways. It's happening out. It's happening out. It's happening out. It's happening out.
Well, it's just a sampling of many of the national known entertainers like Del Shores, Christine W., Ari Gold, Caswell. We've had many interviews with political names like Jerry Ann Henry from the Log Cabin Republicans as president, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the former chairman of the DNC, Ted Deutsch, right in the middle of the impeachment trial from the Judiciary Committee, and most recently, a very intimate and the first and only LGBTQ community interview in the world with Roger Stone. Does anyone have a favorite guest moment that we want to talk about some of a celebrity tonight? Anybody want to start?
Oh, I'm a huge fan of Caswell. We know each other from the streets of New York and the Lower East Side. So I always like to see that he's, rocking and rolling and still thriving and doing his thing. So that was just like a little a flashback of my New York days when I was young and free and super, super creative.
Just before somebody else jumps in, I just want to comment. I was with Josie in Havana last May. We brought the show to Havana for the first ever Havana Pride. And we did a big event at their national Saturday night party, and we had a special video prepared by Caswell from Ice Cream Truck.
Yeah.
And embracing gay pride in Havana. And the gay men in Havana went, from that video. Yeah, it was phenomenal. Other moments y'all want to talk about in terms of what we've seen?
She knows him from the streets like they was in a gang or something.
You know that club scene, honey.
I love Kaz too. We work together quite often. For me, somebody that we had on that was a really cool guest, somebody that I had always wanted to meet was Barla Jean. When we had him on, that was a real treat because we've always been like 1 degree of separation. Like I know, he made the movie with Coco Peru, and I know Coco, and a lot of our friends are in the same circle, but him and I never met. So that was quite an opportunity, and that was for me a pleasure.
One interesting thing outside of entertainment, a political guest. I know Scott Pressler and Power completely agree. Scott Pressler loves the idea of the interview with Roger Stone, and Power was all agaga. He could not stop talking about that we had gotten the exclusive interview with Roger Stone.
Oh, yes. I just couldn't get enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really neat, interview.
I didn't hear you, Power. What?
I said, if you see the eye roll I'm making behind my shades.
Convenient to be wearing those. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I was just saying that was a really neat interview. I wish I would have been a fly on the wall on that one. I swear I did beg to be there, but unfortunately all the security measures. But the other guest that we had, which was really cool, was when we did Pride on the Beach. I don't know if Power you agree, but when we had all the local leaders coming through, and Debbie came through. Ted, we had
Dean Trantellis, the mayor of Fort Lauderdale,
and Richard Gray, and just everyone who is who's who in the LGBTQ political and local leader scene here in South Florida. They were at the table and coming by, and it was just a really inspiring moment.
America, and if you did not see it, it was the first time I've been to countless prides. All of us have been to countless prides. That's the first time I had ever been to a pride parade that was right on the beach in Fort Lauderdale. The mayor was sitting with us, Dean Trantellis, who is LGBT. And it was absolutely stunningly beautiful. And we broadcast the parade for the first time ever in the gayest place on planet Earth's parade live. We did it live. It was an amazing experience.
And I'd like to make a shout out to one very, very special guest that we had on when we first did our first Halloween episode on Wilton Manors. And we've had him on a couple times, but now it's all the more special that he's gone, Mayor Justin Flippin.
Yes.
We were very, very lucky to have had him and had his light with us for the time that he walked this earth. And the fact that he really supported It's Happening Out means a lot.
Yeah, and the circle kind of closes, doesn't it, in our 2-year anniversary? In January, the mayor of the gayest place on planet Earth, Wilton Manors, Florida, has a sudden dramatic medical issue and dies, and has been on our show many times now, did Christmas and New Year's and Prides and Halloween and so many things. He embraced the show so much of what it represented for the LGBT community and the city of Wilton Manors, Florida. And now, sitting on the show tonight in our 2-year anniversary, one of our hosts is running for that seat as mayor of Wilton Manors. So our circle kind of closes. And we wish you all the luck, Josie. Let's continue. First, we want to, before we move into some other topics, thank Best Western here in Fort Lauderdale at I-95, Wilton Manors. Scott, this is where you're staying. Yeah, and
right off the power line.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very close to Wilton Drive. When you come to South Florida, and let's face it, LGBT America, you're going to come to South Florida sooner or later. And this is a great place to stay, and a major sponsor for Happening Out Television Network. We also would like to thank our brand new set partner here, and we are sitting in the middle of the Sunshine Cathedral. And I know that might sound strange to you, but this is the world's largest queer church here, right here in Fort Lauderdale, Wilton Manors. We always joke that this place is the gayest place on planet Earth. Again, all you have to do is look around this table and know that's true. Our support of their Sunday celebration is the largest LGBTQ religious broadcast in the world every Sunday. Last week, about 33,000 people watched an LGBTQ Sunday religious broadcast. Every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and it is live. We encourage you to tune in. Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church. Watch this.
I'm 55 years old, out of Fort Lauderdale. I am Reverend Margarita Rodriguez. I'm 55 years old, out of Fort Lauderdale. Sunshine Cathedral is our queer church.
We'd also like to thank our set courtesy of Concepto Modern Living here in Fort Lauderdale. Next up, our production team pays attention to many things that we think are interesting and that they think are interesting on the web and in social media, etc. We call this next segment the best thing of the week. And I haven't seen this, getting ready to watch it myself. This is what production thinks at It's Happening Out is the best thing of the week. It's called Daddy's New Ride. Watch this.
Hey, sweetie. Why don't you bring that juicy ass over here and hop in Daddy's new whip?
Excuse me?
Who's talking to me?
Oh.
Well, you just gonna stare at these daddies, or you want to rip off that top and hop on in here?
That is not okay. You don't talk to people like that.
I've never been more ready.
I hate this park.
Well, America, if you haven't, as a travel voyeur, been to Wilton Manors, that was Wilton Drive tonight on Wilton Drive. What'd y'all think? Best thing of the week?
That was great. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. And, well, now you know what happens in Wilton Manors.
Yeah. That's why you want to be mayor of Wilton Manors. Scott, that kind of stuff doesn't go on in Northern Virginia, does it?
Oh, I think that goes on everywhere. But number one, I'm going there.
Yes.
And then number
drink.
two, I like because it brought it back. And we have to realize not everything is about us and have a sense of humor with life.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other thoughts? Does that go on in Lakeland, Power?
We're the only gay things here in Lakeland.
Oh,
me and my husband.
Buddy. All right. Let's move on to our segment called What's on Your Mind. Each week, the host will tell us in just 30 seconds, it's a verbal cue, everyone, just 30 seconds, what is important to them this week. And Power, you're in virtual with us tonight, so for ease, let's start with you. What's on your mind, Power Infiniti?
What's on my mind?
What's on my mind is, I think, go ahead, Howard.
Oh, no, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
So what's on my mind? What's on my mind is I'm seeing a lot of the cancellations of a lot of the circuit parties and circuit events in our bar scene and in our community, which I applaud. But I also would like to warn the circuit promoters that are not canceling events and that are throwing huge circuit festivals and not to do it. As a circuit performer myself, it's irresponsible, it is detrimental to our community, and it's counterproductive. So please show some responsibility.
All right. And Howard, Dr. Grossman, what's on your mind this week?
You know what? I'm tired of controversy. I'm tired of the level of anger. I've been thinking a lot about that this week, and how we as people learn to communicate differently with one another.
All right. And Scott, what's on your mind this week?
Well, I saw the Hornet app asked respondents who they were going to vote for in this election, and I was actually really shocked because I saw that 45% of respondents said they were going to vote for Donald Trump. And my message to everybody who's watching this show, if you are in the 45% like I am, just know that you are welcomed, loved, accepted, family, teammates, and that we are not a monolithic group as queer people.
All right. And Chef Josie, what's on your mind this week?
You know, what's on my mind this week is that I think it's kind of along the lines of, Dr. Howard, because what I'm experiencing in the world is a lot of aggression and frustration and these kind of like negative emotions that are really dividing people. And what I realize is that we all get to focus on our human decency with each other and remember that we are human, that our blood is pumping through our veins, that we require clean air to live, that we require food and clean water. And, human decency, guys, that's what's on my mind.
All right, great. So that's what's on all of our hosts' mind this week. Tonight on It's Happening Out Next, let's explore some hot topics. These are various issues that we explore each week. And tonight we're going to explore what's happening on Friday. Friday is National HIV, AIDS, and Aging Awareness Day. Before we begin this conversation, watch this.
We want to talk about this population first. How large is this population?
There are about 1.1 million people in the U.S. living with HIV, and right now somewhere around 50% are over the age of 50. So we're approaching about 500,000 people. And that population has been growing, I understand, over the last few years. Why is that? Well, it's really a confluence of two phenomena. One is that about 17% of all new HIV diagnoses every year are in people over 50. So they represent a portion of new diagnoses. That said, that people are living longer, they're living almost natural length lives, and so there's a phenomenon of people that are long-term survivors and growing older.
Older members of the LGBTQ community have unique challenges when dealing with HIV. This Friday is National HIV, AIDS, and Aging Awareness Day. What can we do to help the aging members of our LGBTQ community, both in seeking treatment and with moral support? And Howard, let's start with you. You were the former director of the American Academy of HIV Medicine. You came out of New York City in a peak time of AIDS and HIV. What do you think about Friday?
Well, I mean, it's such an important topic because, as the person in the video said, over 50% of the people living with HIV are now over 50, and that number is growing as people live longer. And it's a wonderful thing. It's an amazing thing for those of us who were there at the beginning when there was no treatment at all, and people died within days of diagnosis sometimes. To see that people can live a normal lifespan now with HIV. With the medications that we have, with the treatments, it's really been an amazing change. But HIV accelerates aging. We've known that for years, and people develop comorbidities, other diseases at an earlier age, whether it's heart disease or diabetes or mental changes can happen at an earlier age than they would otherwise. And so we really need to be able to support our aging population. I mean, let's not forget two things. Number one, we still have a lot of young people becoming infected. I want to say that because young people are the fastest growing population. and we have to focus on them as well. But our older people, unfortunately, get forgotten. And one of the problems with especially gay men, but the LGBTQ people in particular, is that there are many people who really don't have a born family. And for many people, as they age, their chosen family may fall by the wayside. People get old, they get sick, and people end up back with their born families in many ways. And a lot of us don't have that. And so there are a lot of older people who are on their own. And I think that as a community, we really need to focus on providing the services for them. As you said, Josie, having the heart, having, being a community. I will tell you that in my apartment complex during COVID, one of my neighbors on his own started making meals for some of the elderly people in the complex who could not get out and couldn't go to the grocery store and were afraid. That's the kind of thing we need to do as a community.
Other thoughts about Friday and what it celebrates, what it brings attention to?
I mean, I think it's fantastic, too, that we're seeing more and more housing for LGBTQ seniors, and that includes people living with HIV, whether it's here in Wilton Manors, at the Pride Center, or in Brooklyn, in Philadelphia, in California, in several places. I mean, these are really important advances.
And I'd say not only being a friend and providing education, but also treatment as prevention. And I think it's important that we do give a shout out to Health and Human Services under the Trump administration, which has gotten over 200,000 individuals PrEP, the medication to make sure that they don't develop HIV. And that's for over 11 years. So I think that we should give credit where credit is due.
I'm curious to the ageist portion of the recognition of the event on Friday. Do y'all think, as a community, as an LGBTQ community, we do any better in how we treat our older members than the traditional straight community? Are we better at it, or the same, or are we worse? Are we more ageist?
I think we're worse.
I think we're more
I mean, truthfully, I think we live in a very ageist community. As you get older, I mean, Al, you and I are the representatives for our generation on here, and I think we become more and more invisible. Because so much revolves around sex, we don't respect our elders in the same way. Now, I don't know what it was like when you came out, but when I came out in New York, if you wanted to be accepted into the more interesting, glamorous gay community, you had to know older people. They had the entree, they had the access. But with HIV and so many people dying, that intergenerational connection really got cut.
Wow,
and I think we're still
interesting.
working our way back to creating that again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I definitely think that we as a community treat our aging population with a lot of disrespect. The gay community itself is, I don't want to generalize, but much of the gay community is focused on the superficial. It's all about the youth and the sex and the stimulation. And not only do we kind of throw our aging community away because they don't fit into that box of sexual desire, but a lot of community weaponize HIV as and stigmatize it. Whenever you see somebody online saying that they are clean versus unclean, porn do that a lot. I just got my test, I'm clean. Well, what the hell does that mean? What does clean mean? As opposed to, somebody that has HIV, so they're unclean, So I think that we need to get rid of the stigma of HIV, first of all, that's sexual education. And we really need to respect the ones that paved the way for us. And that's our older community.
Well, before I move on, any final thoughts here on the celebration on Friday? I I pause again.
Well, I'd like to say one thing. Number one, I do like older men, and I'm very interested. And number two, I'm looking to get hitched. So if you're looking, then slide into my DMs on Twitter.
That's funny. You know, we're celebrating a 2-year anniversary at It's Happening Out. I would be remiss if I didn't say this. This is no read on my participation in the last 2 years, but Napoleon and I had a shtick. And my shtick was varied and had a lot of prongs in the joke. Napoleon had one, and that was age. And that, my experience over the last 2 years, frankly, moving down to Wilton Manors and being in Fort Lauderdale, if somebody wanted to try to get me, it's very, very difficult because I move fast in conversation. The thing that almost universally we come to is age. And I don't say, well, wait, would you do that if I were black? Would you do that if I was a lesbian? Would you do that if I was Latino? But you can do it if you're older in our community, because you don't even think about the discrimination that it represents. And I would make the observation, I am frequently discriminated against. It's a thought.
I think also, just Al, just to wrap it, but I think that everyone just needs a little reminder. We're all headed in the same direction.
Everyone's going to catch me. And oh, by the way, and I know Howard would jump in, I really do have to move forward. The fact of focusing on your sexuality in your 20s or 30s or 40s versus me in 50s and Howard in his 60s, to assume that I am not having a very active sex life is a tremendous mistake. It is not true. It's a stereotype. And we have to delve deeper.
That's another episode, Al.
That's a whole other episode. Exactly right. All right, we will move on. Now we've discussed this celebration of this event on Friday. We want to play Saved by the Bell. Now, Saved by the Bell is a lightning round of LGBTQ topics in the news this week, or other headlines that we're going to give a gay perspective on. The trick is we're only going to give you about 60 seconds to do it, and then I have a bell that I'm going to ring. Oh, I love to ring this. Scott, if you're in mid-syllable, I'm still going to ring the bell, and that's how we play this game. So let's do this lightning round as we go through on Saved by the Bell. Headline story number 1. Netflix's Away. Oh, I binged all 10 episodes when they launched it just 10 days ago. Blast off with an intergalactic lesbian love affair that's amazing. What did y'all think?
Wow, Al, did you just say a lesbian love affair that is amazing?
Amazing.
Oh, wow.
I cried. Twice I cried.
Okay, so it's I'll go home and Netflix and chill tonight, okay?
Right.
But you got to give it up to TV these days, because there's a whole lot better LGBTQ representations than there ever were. I mean, and remember Star Trek Discovery with its gay characters is coming up in a couple weeks.
By the way, Away is about our first mission to Mars. So
starring Hilary Swank. I've seen it on Netflix, and I've wanted to watch it, and this gives me more reason to go ahead. I mean,
this is more reason you guys are all going to watch this for the lesbian scene that opens up.
There we go. Exactly. I cried twice on the lesbian love story of Away. Headline number 2 in Saved by the Bell. Chicago's decades-old LGBTQ newspaper ends its print, issuing a warning for all gay print media. The Windy City Times is gone.
Okay, so to be clear, it is not gone. It is simply transferring all of its media to digital. But it is still a shame that they say that the revenues for the print media has gone down so much over the past few years, and then especially with COVID, it's no longer sustainable.
Look, a friend of mine was the person who started HX Magazine, the first party magazine in New York. They folded because advertising went away. And, you know, you can't sustain print medium without advertising. We're seeing that everywhere. And I miss paper, you know, and having the New York Times come off of my fingers.
And it's like where we are right now. We're in a virtual world. It's only going to get further into digital media platforms. So, I mean, I like you, Doc, I love the feel, but this is where we're going.
We move into headline number 3 in Saved by the Bell, the Oscars. Interesting thing happened this week. They announced that the Best Picture will require LGBTQ inclusion or some other standards of minority representation, according to the Academy of Arts and Sciences.
This is fantastic news, just because, then we don't have to be nominated in some fringe category. That, Best Picture, guys, that's what we're talking about. And that is a call to action for all of the LGBTQ directors and writers out there to get on it.
Yeah.
Anyone? Go ahead, Power.
Some of the standards that have to be met if you want to submit for Best Picture, you have to have at least one of the lead actors or significant actors from it has to be from an underrepresented ethnic group like Asian, Hispanic, Black, Middle Eastern, or what have you. Or at least 30% of all stars in secondary roles are have to be at least from one of the following groups: women, racial or ethnic groups, or the LGBTQ community. So these are standards that are now set that have to be met in order to qualify for Best Picture.
And speaking of that, we're done. I have to thank Power, because Power brought this story to my attention before I saw it in the national news, because he called me up one morning very early, like 5:30, and said, Al, it's very exciting. RuPaul's finally going to appear in a major film. Headline number, we're moving on, no rebuttal. That's fact. It's out on the table. Story number 4, Saved by the Bell. Author creates a new kids coloring book featuring LGBTQ families designed to be completely distributed to kindergarten and school-age children.
Fantastic. Then I don't have to have awkward conversations with my, little family members asking me who my wife is, and why she keeps coming to all the family dinners and the holidays, and why do we live together, and why did you just say you love her, and all of that fun stuff. The more we normalize the LGBTQ community to the children coming up, it takes away the stigma. There's nothing wrong with being LGBTQ+.
Sorry. And we move on to headline number 5 in Saved by the Bell. Madam Madness to be RuPaul's first, I got one in. RuPaul's first bearded queen in Holland. This is RuPaul's Drag Race Holland.
Go ahead, Power.
I can't be bothered.
All right.
We got 47 more seconds, and we're going to, I don't care if it's silent, RuPaul.
Well, I'm just going to open it up. I mean, the drag community isn't monolithic either, and I do like that sometimes you have the scary queens or the camp queens or the comedy queens, but I will say there is something to the feminine form and the art of really representing a woman. So this is going to be an interesting conversation of having a beard, which is of course very masculine.
I think both of those pictures are beautiful. Honestly, I do. If I saw them in a club, I would say, wow. So there we are. All right, headline number 6 in Saved by the Bell. High schools must now teach LGBTQ inclusive sex education in England. Our history and sex education, including LGBT, is now required in all schools.
I think it's great. I mean, how do you fight discrimination if you don't educate people? And we have a rich history. As you know, it's been so public in the last 50 years, but even before that, there's a rich history in the LGBTQ community that has been completely hidden.
Anyone else?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Education, remove the shame and remove the discrimination. The only way that we battle discrimination is through education, and these kids are about to go into the world and become contributing adults to the global community. So thank you.
Let me counterbalance this news with what we reported tonight at Queer News Tonight. Texas has just discussed the same possibility in the state of Texas, and it was voted down. They are not going to do it. Headline number 7 in Saved by the Bell. A 2,000-person march is led by drag queens, kind of Stonewallish feeling, against the hate on the German-Polish border about what is going on in LGBT discrimination in Poland.
It's very scary what's happening in Poland.
Yeah.
The party that's in charge is reversing a decade of progress for LGBTQ people. It's a horribly right-wing nationalist, homophobic, religious-based discrimination party. And they've really targeted the LGBTQ people. There's a lot of violence. People are not safe on the streets. You watch some of the gay pride parades that have happened, and people like throwing things, surrounding people, beating them. We've seen this all over Eastern Europe, unfortunately.
This is the type of story that I like to talk about. I mean, I'm going to read It's Happening Out really quick in our 2-year anniversary. I think we focus too much on RuPaul, motherfucking RuPaul. Story that I like to talk about when it comes to our community and when it comes to the show of outpouring of love and support, led by drag queens, led by the most visual members of our community, which is our drag and trans community. And these people are suffering. They're suffering under, I believe his name is President Duda. President Duda, do whatever we are doing here in America, it's a lot harder when you're doing it over there. So they need to be applauded and celebrated.
Absolutely. And that drag queens are doing it makes it all the more special. And by the way, America, look directly into Power's eyes. Are you looking directly into his eyes? Because of what he said, I gave him in Saved by the Bell an entire minute and a half more just so he could say that.
There you have it.
There you have it. All right, let's play another game tonight.
Al's not racist.
Sorry?
So Al's not racist. Just prove
At least not on this episode.
Right, at least on this episode. Right, exactly. Let's play another game. It's called Shag, Marry, Chop. Scott, do you know what shagging is?
I sure do. Yeah.
Have you? Now you haven't apparently in COVID. At least I listened very well. This is a game that asks our host who and why and what, and we'll get into delicious details, hopefully, of what they would like to do with 3 different people. So let's play Shag, Marry, Chop. Tonight's subjects are some of our host favorites from the past 2 years connected with the show. Here are our 3 choices tonight. First is Yaki Boy from the Tattooed Hotties set. And then there is Franco Noriega from our Things to Do at Home set. And then finally, let's do couples, Bernardo and Adam from our Hottest Couples episode. So let's play Shag, Marry, Chop. Yaki Boy, Francisco Noriega, or if you want into a threesome, Bernardo and Adam. And Power, you're in virtual, so I'm going to give you the privilege of starting first, and I must continue to prove I'm not a racist.
Thank you, Al. Thank you for throwing it over to me. First of all, I'm going to shag Francisco Noriega. I don't know if our audience can see this, but in his video, we panned down to a picture of his pingly that's kind of lying on the table. And that did it for me. As soon as I saw that, I knew that he was this. There it goes.
There it is.
There it goes. So he's definitely the one I'm shagging.
I'm sorry, did you say pingly?
Pingly.
I've never heard that one before.
Me either.
Ever.
You know, we, and It's Happening Out, can say the word dick. We're allowed to, right?
Well, you know, I'm unique, so I made up my own name.
All right. So that's who you're shagging.
Pingley.
I am marrying Yaki Boy all day long. Those tattoos, his height, I mean, just climbing him. I could just see him and I doing that workout together, even though I would probably do like 3 or 4 and he can do the rest. But I'm definitely marrying him.
Now, you know that boy would slap you around. Oh, wait, you would like that.
And that's exactly what I'm bargaining for. I know what I signed up for. The other two, they have each other already, so they can keep each other.
Oh, see that? Now, wait, we've just learned so much about Power Infiniti. Bitch, it's all about me. That's what you just said.
I'm a one-on-one type of person, so they can, they can keep each other.
All right, and Howard, who are you going to shag?
Who am I going to shag? I'd shag Bernardo and Adam. I think that would be a fun thing. As Power said, they have each other, but, I could be the meat in that.
Oh, my God, our COVID doctor's into threesomes.
Yeah!
With those two. Yaki Boy, I would chop because he's clearly just a body with a big dick. And he got in a terrible fight.
Excuse me, sir. What is wrong with a body and a big dick?
Beat somebody. Well, you could chop his head off. It really doesn't matter. And Francisco Noriega, I mean, he just has it all. I mean, he has an amazing body. He's clearly not shy. He's very smart. He's really successful with his restaurant and food business. He's just got the whole package.
Chef. I forgot.
I'd marry him.
Yeah. So he can cook afterwards. Now I know who I'm marrying. Josie, speaking of food, you tell us who you're going to shag.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I think that I'm probably going to shag Yaki Boy. He looks like...
that wink.
Well, he just looks like he could handle me. Okay, let's just say that. And he probably wouldn't be all that intimidated either.
A 2-year anniversary note. We learned on It's Happening Out that Chef Josie, when she was in New York, was a professional female football, the ladies' professional football league. So when she says he could handle me, she means.
And then I think I'm definitely going to marry the chef, obviously. Because, listen, a couple who cooks together stays together.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, I know that 3's a party, but I'm going to have to chop the boy.
So you don't like threesomes, I understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. And now I've saved our conservative participant for last. He hasn't had outside of the home in COVID, so I'm really curious about where we're going to go here. Scott Pressler, who are you shagging?
This was shockingly easy. I'd say that I'm going to shag Yaki Boy. I'm going to marry Francisco.
Wait, you're going too fast for me.
Oh,
you're shagging Yaki Boy because?
Well, I mean, look at the body. Come on.
What part of the body?
I'm going to say no comment. And then the amazing personality of Mr. Francisco. I mean, come on, you can tell he's just loving life and he just looks fun. And
what do you think about him slapping his dick on the table?
Oh, Lord have mercy. I liked him before I saw that. I liked him before. So that shows that my heart is in the right place.
Wait. Oh, a conservative with a heart. I love that.
So I would marry him.
The dick on the table was just a cherry on top. Is that what you're telling us?
That certainly helps. And then I'm going to chop.
Wait, before we move on, Scott.
You're liking this way too much.
I know. Have you ever participated in any kind of event where this kind of conversation has pulled you out of your pulled you out in this way ever? Have you ever done anything?
Oh, of course.
Have you?
Yeah. I mean, look, I come from DC. We had the nightlife up there, clubbing and everything. I mean, in my younger years, I was a little more wild.
Okay. All right. So, and you're taking Francisco. We understand, and Mary. Not into the threesome with
Listen,
Bernardo and
I have a rule. You either have eyes for all of this, or you are getting none of this.
Oh my God! For the second time tonight, Scott Pressler and Power Infiniti are the same person.
We do share similar hairstyles.
Yeah.
Very
yes. Right. All right. So that's our game. Yeah, that's our game. Shag, Marry, Chop. We play it every week. I've been doing this 2 years. We did this on episode 1. And it's been with us the entire way. Before we end the show tonight, and by the way, I've tricked production because I got the pizza early and I opened the box so I wouldn't have any problem. So no problems this evening as I show you Jet's Pizza, one of our major sponsors here at It's Happening Out. Oh, this smells absolutely delicious.
You can't close the box though.
I wish, America, you could be here when I get to the Jet's Pizza segment because I can never open the box. Production thinks it's funny to deliver the box to me backwards. So I'm trying to figure it out. 2 years and I'm still doing the same fucking shtick. Just whatever. We love Jet's Pizza. Detroit style, they're all over the country. And when you come here to South Florida, you got to have it. Everybody does. It's our favorite. The host and production are getting ready to enjoy this pizza. And while we do, we're going to say goodnight. And we give our host an opportunity to say goodnight. And again, because I'm no racist, I'm going to start with my friend sitting in Lakeland, Power Infiniti.
Well, good night, children. I just want to remind everybody that we have exactly 47 days, 5 hours, and 17 minutes till election. And I really want to encourage everybody to get out there and vote and to rally our community to get out there. I'm actually going to be doing an online Get Out the Vote event later in October, and my co-hosts don't know this, but I am inviting Al and Josie to be a part of it. I will let you guys know.
Honored to.
So continue to stay with us.
Is it a virtual event or face-to-face?
It's going to be a virtual event where I get to interview you guys for a little bit. Turn the tables on you.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so, just keep it right here every single week. It's Happening Out, America's most popular gay talk show.
Yeah, and I have to give a plug for Power. Of course, I'm becoming more and more politically active as the campaign vote November 3rd comes. Power is one of the most interesting voices in social media. You must follow Power Infiniti in terms of what he is saying. Scott Pressler follows him religiously. Every single word that Power says, he follows. And to one of our guest hosts tonight, our COVID expert, our doctor that participates in Q News tonight for 27 weeks. We joked because COVID's going to go on for 3 more years that he's going to be with us every single week. And the first time that he's been a guest host here at It's Happening Out, Dr. Howard Grossman.
Well, it's really been a great pleasure, Al, as it always is when I spend time with you and the other hosts. I will remind people to tune in on Tuesdays if they want to learn more, and we're actually expanding our section to talk about LGBTQ health questions in general, so send them in and we're happy to answer them. I want to echo what Power said. Voting is your responsibility. It's not just a right, it's a responsibility. If you want to be a citizen of this country and this world, they really have to vote. The early voting has actually started in some places, and we'll start here in Florida in October. And really, people need to remember that every vote counts. Here in Florida, our governor's race was decided by 30,000 votes. Our Senate race was decided by 10,000 votes. Every single vote matters, and it's really important that you cast yours and have it counted.
Absolutely. And to another guest that we've had tonight, his second performance at It's Happening Out, he has proved he is very, very gay, Scott. You've proved you're very gay. And our conservative voice tonight, visiting South Florida. He has a big event here in South Florida. And so we always love to welcome him when he's in town. And that's a good night opportunity for Scott Pressler.
As if you couldn't already tell by my long, luscious locks. But no, thank you to It's Happening Out for having me. I love that you are giving a platform and an opportunity to a different perspective to the show. So thank you for honoring our community by providing me with that voice. And even more importantly than just thinking about Election Day, guys, you only have 19 days to register to vote in the state of Florida.
Absolutely.
And if you are not registered to vote at your current address, then you can't vote. So empower yourself. The most revolutionary thing you can do is to vote.
Absolutely. And to my friend running for mayor, speaking of all of the politics that we're talking about, Chef Josie.
Yeah, you know, I just want to say how grateful I am every single week to be a part of this show and to continue to sit at a table with the minds of Scott Pressler, like the like minds of Scott Pressler, and the different perspectives of Dr. Howard Grossman and all of the other guests who we've had on our show. And, you know, my homeboy, homegirl, depending what night, Power Infiniti, DJ Power Infiniti, of course you, Al. And, but, you know, I just want to say how grateful I am that we do this every Wednesday night and that we bring these different perspectives to the table to help represent your voices and your perspective in this LGBTQ conversation. You know, as you're hearing it echoed, it is important for us to vote. So go and use your voice. That's why we're having this conversation. Stay healthy, stay positive, and stay safe out there, guys. And, you know, I'll see you next week.
Yeah, and final thought and good night from me is I'm very proud as we tonight and next week celebrate our 2-year anniversary. This was an experiment. It was a complete experiment. When we started this on September 20, 24 months ago, nothing like this had ever been done. We kind of joked that we were like The View with a whole lot of gay guys, and it was only gay guys. And we've expanded it, and we've provided lots more diversity in the trans community, in the straight community, in the women community, and ultimately the most diverse of all, the conservative and Republican community. We represent all of the faces. And to be honest with you, I'm very proud of that. Even at 2 years, we have almost no one doing what we're doing here. Look at these faces just tonight around us. A guy that has really become an expert on BLM and one of the leading vote chargers in the country. Scott Pressler, one of the leading conservative voices in the LGBTQ community in the country. Dr. Howard Grossman, a leading HIV expert and medical expert, commenting on the most important topic in the world to the LGBT community every single week in COVID-19. And Chef Josie, who represents from a reality star basis the entrepreneurship of what the basis of this show comes from, which is Wilton Manors, Florida, the gayest place on planet Earth. And now she's running for mayor. How could we have more talented and well-rounded voices talking about our community? I'm proud of that. Last thought in our goodnight is I echoed the timeline that Power has given us. The LGBTQ community now is a pyramid, and I don't really care where you sit. There is a whole strata of the base of one of the platforms of the pyramid that are conservative LGBT. If you're voting for Trump, more power to you. Then there's a whole string that are liberal in the LGBT community that are voting for Biden, and more power to you. But the most important moment over the next days and hours and minutes that Power told you about is at the top of the pyramid. And the top of the pyramid is, regardless what's below the top of the pyramid, is that you vote. Whoever you vote for, the most important thing is to vote, because that's the only way you're going to express your opinion of what you want to happen next. And that's what we will continue to explore at It's Happening Out. If that's important to you, we're going to be here every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. We're going to be doing those vodka shots. We're going to eat a little pizza, and we're going to talk about the fun things and the important things to you, America's LGBTQ community. So join us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. at It's Happening Out. It's 2 years. Good night, America.